TV.
Thank you for having me all the way on the
Oh,
other side of the country.
I know, and I've got a coffee in hand today, very off-brand, but it is a little early.
I don't
Uh,
need anything could be inside this cup though.
it's true. My coffee could be spiked. We don't know.
Oh,
As
let's
if,
pretend it is. It'll be better
yeah,
conversation.
totally, totally. Oh my God, I love it. I love it. Let's start off by telling everyone who you are and what you do.
Sure. So I'm Amelia Hicks. I own a coffee company. So we've been operating since 2017, which is crazy. Where does the time go?
Mm.
I run the business with my partner, actually, Yost. So he is our product man, and I guess I'm everything else. And I've finally got the confidence to call myself CEO now. So
Ooh, I love it. Go you. Yes.
yeah, and yeah, our business. So we're a green bean importer, and then we roast that coffee and we wholesale to other people's businesses, sell online, and run our own cafes. But I guess the heart of the business is the work we do with farmers in Asia.
Wow.
Yeah, so we have sourced all of our own coffees from day one, which is quite unique in the industry to kind of work across the whole supply chain. And yeah, we started the business because we wanted to give back, to the people and the places, I guess, that had helped shaped us as individuals, as human beings on the planet.
Wow.
And excitingly, coffee became the way in which we could do that, the way that in which we could have impact in people's lives. So it all happens through our direct sourcing model and some extra programs along the way as well.
Wow. So
Mm.
did you just wake up one morning and say, we're going to Asia to look at coffee beans? Talk me through this. How did we get here? Because I love it. I think it's so
Mm.
amazing and I love the story behind it, but I
Mm.
am curious. How did this actually come about?
I know it's funny. I feel like as founders and business owners, we sort of manipulate our story as we go along, and make it sound sort of
Totally.
more
What's the PR version of this? Yeah.
100%. But I would say that it was a little bit of that. It was a beautiful timing. I think a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs can relate to that moment where you get that itch, that you're ready to do something, big. And for us, my partner actually, he was a lot more fearless than I was. I was in
Mm.
my first good paying job, but he was really ready to change trajectory. So he was working in environmental regen, and I was working running a startup, a not for profit, a social enterprise, actually, with a not for profit arm. That we're both doing different things, but we both weren't satisfied, and so starting a business became a conversation. We were 27, and we'd sort of been working for other people, and yeah, just ready. And then I think the only two parts that were non-negotiable is it needed to have a social purpose. It needed to be a social enterprise because that's who we were as people. That was going to be the purpose and something that we knew would keep that fire in our bellies, like forever. And then the other side of it was we wanted to stay connected, as I said, and give back to Asia. And so then he began becoming obsessed with coffee, and then that's kind of how we interlinked it. But in an interesting way, like I think it happens to a lot of people. You think you're going to do one thing, and then you
Mm.
end up doing lots of other things. So our dream was to bring in green bean, and kind of, just import coffee and work directly with farmers. But we found this perfect little shed that a friend introduced us to. And then we thought, oh, well, gosh, let's roast it and we'll just have a little coffee bar at the front. And it was just like that all of a sudden we had a fully fledged cafe, and we were like, wow, we need to learn how to do this now.
Yeah.
And then
I
Right?
know. Yeah, absolutely.
Right, and then, we sort of started to learn more about the industry, and we started to learn about wholesale, and then we got obsessed with the idea of scalability and how growing this organization could grow the impact with the lives of farmers and help us get more coffees and help us build more relationships, and then we thought, "Okay, great, volume. Let's, you know, work with other people's businesses," and then, you gotta have a website, so online it just happened.
Oh my God, I love but how cool, like, okay, here's the next opportunity. Let's get into that. Here's the next opportunity. Let's get into that. And it does kind of work like that sometimes. It's not like you wake up and go, okay, the long-term vision is we're going to have X cafes and do this and do that. It is just the next thing in front of you, taking the next step, taking the next opportunity.
It so is, isn't it? You always have a plan and you should have a plan and you should, have done your research to know what you think is going to be successful in the market you're entering. But ultimately, you get little gifts along the way. And I mean, for us, we were learning a lot. It's most people are not as insane as us. They won't
Mhm,
try
mhm.
and learn how to become importers and all of the complexity. At most coffee roasters will just work with a wholesaler who handles that whole other side of the company. They can focus on sales and marketing and building their business. We sillily, what you don't know, what you don't know.
You
And
don't. It's a good life and business lesson. You don't know what you don't know.
right. And so yeah, we just went for it. And the cool thing is, you don't need to know everything before you started. You need to be obsessively learning. But you don't have to know it all before you start. I'm definitely testament to that.
I don't know what I'm doing still. It's been 12
Yeah,
years and I still I'm like, "What is this? What is this new thing that I need to learn today?"
oh, and that's the joy of it, right?
I do
Like,
love it. I do love it. You'd never I always say this. I worked in corporate for 10
mm,
years and I was like, I would never have gotten the experiences that I've had over this 10 years of my life sitting behind that desk, and replying to emails and doing contracts and blah blah blah. The things that I've been able to experience over the last 12 years have been just incredible. I think you're right. That is the magic. That is the joy of business ownership.
oh my gosh, absolutely. I always kind of reflect on this that I think apart from our kind of intimate relationship and probably kids, which I don't have, but I think going into a business is a single sort of biggest teacher,
Yeah.
because they say, 90% of businesses fail or whatever from cash flow. But I think when you really look down to it, it's about the psychology of the business owner is the
Mm,
real reason. And so I kind of heard that early on and then thought, you know what, like, this is an opportunity for me to grow and to learn and to get better. And every time my business grows, I get to learn new skills. There's something about something about that ultimate responsibility of knowing that, the buck stops with you, that you find an inner resilience, and it is the biggest gift. Like, I've unpacked heaps of baggage. Like,
yeah.
when I first started, I had so much baggage around money, and it still rears its little
Mm,
ugly head, about like fear there won't be enough and things like that stem
yes.
from childhood. Um, and all sorts of ways that I now approach like risk, in such a different way. And you just build that confidence and that learning. And you look back after, like you said, 12 years. I'm not that far in, but you look back and you just think, wow, I'm a different human being and hopefully a better one. And now I get to use these special skills that I've got to help a team thrive and grow, under in the business, and help add more value, to the people who have believed in us, our customers. And
Mm.
that's like just, ugh, so rewarding.
It really is, isn't it?
Mm,
It does. I mean, there's a few things that you've said there that really like struck a nerve or chord, not a nerve,
mm.
a chord with me. But and you said, having it be a social enterprise at its core was something that was a non-negotiable because you wanted to maintain that fire in your belly. But
Mm.
just hearing you speak, I feel like that obsession over business and growth and learning has probably also been a bit of fire in the belly to make it work.
Oh my gosh, that is so true. Like I love business. I just love it. I want to have lots of them, you know. I it's something about the strategy and the communications and the challenges, the ability to grow and learn. It is like it's such a privilege to be someone who gets this much freedom in their lives. A lot of women and a lot of people around the world don't have it, and part of my learning in Asia was seeing the ridiculously brilliant lives we have and going, oh my God, I have skills and the ability to use them. I should go and do it, you know? And yeah, it
Oh,
is what keeps me motivated. Definitely just the love of the game, but like,
yeah.
um, but also when when it's tough, because as we know it is, it will break you multiple times as throughout the journey.
Yes,
But when it
yes.
gets really, really tough, for me, just making money or just doing this for some sense of sort of achievement would never quite be enough. It
Yeah.
had to be for a purpose bigger than myself, and for Yost too, my partner. So it's cool because I remember there's this particular moment in COVID, and obviously so much has happened since then, but it's still so real, like just knowing that, having that inner knowing, inner certainty that no matter what was going to happen, we would find a way, and we would find a way because there are people on the other side of the world, well, actually Asia's pretty close, over the seas,
Yes.
as well as our team, but I could rationalize my team would find work. I kind of
Yeah.
knew,
Yeah.
but the impact in Asia was like, no, no, there's no way we're not going to buy that coffee this year. And
Yeah.
that just, yeah, is so good, so motivating.
I love it. What's it like working with your partner?
Oh my gosh, I know I've mentioned him a lot, haven't I? Oh my gosh, another gift. I know a lot of friends that probably would just murder each other. We just
I've had one of those, don't worry. That's why I'm always
oh
curious.
yeah, we have it sorted. We never occupied the same position in the business.
Yes, that's so good.
Yeah, so that's really great. And we do have complementary skills. We've definitely learned and grown along the way. There was a time when I wanted to kind of separate business and life. That doesn't work. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, but we still have to, like, okay, it's time for date night, or it's time for sign off, or don't talk to me about business now because, like, and so we've gotten a really, really good at communications. But I'd say the best part of it is sharing the wins, but also in the lows. Nobody understands more what you're going through than that person. That is just the best. Yeah.
It is pretty amazing, isn't it? It's because it's funny you mentioned, so I don't have kids either, but I
Mm.
do. Yeah, but the level of responsibility you feel for your business, I think, and like I'll get murdered for saying this, but is like having a child. Like yeah, we obsess over our businesses like it's a child, and it's all consuming, and it is funny, like, so my husband isn't in my business, but I had a previous long-term partner that was in my other
Mm.
business, and it took us a long time to figure out how to work together, like we would step on each other's toes the whole way, like try and have a hand in everything, and it really wasn't until we did that and went, okay, you're good at this, you're good at that, let's separate it and trust each other. It wasn't until we actually developed that communication
Mm.
and understood that it kind of, worked. But it is interesting, like, and I love you said you can't really separate business and personal. And I know so many people advocate for that, but I even now can't, like it's literally, I was having a bad day yesterday. The husband comes home and it's just me verbal diarrheaing at him about what was going on. And it's like, there is no, well, it's 6 o'clock now and we're going to have dinner and we're going to watch some TV. So you need to forget about all of your troubles. It's actually
Mm.
just, no, I'm probably going to have a wine and cry all night tonight. So fortunately, he's very, very good and very understanding, and he's in a very high level position in a company, so he
Mhm.
does understand business
The level of
on a level, which is good because he can then ask me the right questions and do all of those things. So it is so lovely having somebody that
yeah.
you can have that kind of deeper connection and who does kind of on a level understand what it is you're going through, because yeah, it is really all consuming. And I think it's funny because we every now and then I will get the, okay, it's time to put the laptop away. But I think that it is really hard to switch off from business and separate it.
Oh, absolutely. I know. I think yeah, it's got to be the right partnership, doesn't it? But I think there will be people in the world who that compartmentalization is really important,
Mm,
but they're probably not business owners. And I think any business owner that thinks that they're going to get more freedom or more time or more of that kind of work-life balance through their business
mm,
um, is probably mildly deluded
yeah,
because there are ways that you can be so strategic and say, um, I like Fiona from My Daily Business, who I think we connected on.
mm,
She's mentioned how she lost a family member, and so she's created her business so that she can show up. That you definitely can do that,
yes,
but it's a very got to be a very conscious choice. And I think if you're enjoying what you're doing and you love it and you're fulfilled by it, then you don't want to separate it, you want to go for it. And even with my staff, if I see that kind of level of burnout or wanting to or like this kind of resentment or around, it's like, okay, that's a
yes,
bigger discussion around the fact that you're not being fulfilled by the work that you're doing,
mm,
rather than some unrealistic expectation that work doesn't permeate our lives, because at the end of the day we spend more time at work whether you're an employee or not than you do like at home. It's just the
yeah.
truth of it. Mm.
Well, and I love the idea of freedom, right? So I think that it means something different than we thought it would mean. So hear me out.
Oh, wow. Okay, we're going deep. I love it.
Because I think that we all went, okay, we need to escape the 9 to 5 job, so that we can experience freedom, right? And I think that when we make that choice, we think freedom is I can do anything I want, I can work whatever hours I want, I can blah, blah, blah. But I feel like, so now I have two businesses and I'm consumed by them and I work 24 hours a day. And people would say that that's not freedom. And then that's not what I signed up for. And it's not, in the sense that, perhaps I'm not only working 3 days a week, but I don't want to work 3 days a week. I absolutely love it. And I am obsessed by, so, the mission at Spark is to empower more women to experience freedom through business ownership. But it's like, freedom for me is that I actually can work on something that I'm absolutely obsessed with every day. And yes, I can duck to the nail salon in the afternoon to get my nails done and no one's going to get mad at me. But yeah, it's funny. I think originally freedom was I want to work less, but now freedom for me is like I get to choose to work on anything I want. And I'm so completely obsessed by creating this asset, this empire, this, thing that I'm like eternally proud of. And that for me is freedom
Mm.
now.
Oh, I love that so much. It's such a good reframe. And of course, it's going to be different for everyone. But for me as well, like creating financial freedom is a really big driver for me as well. I'm not in business to just achieve things, I want to make money as well.
Yes.
But freedom for me is going every year, hopefully every 6 months, but all the time, I'm getting more and more my role to a position where I'm doing less and less of what I don't like and more of
Yes.
what I do like. To
Yes.
me, that's freedom. And you don't maybe necessarily have to have a business to get that. You just need to develop the skills to be the best person to be doing the thing that you really enjoy. Like that's invaluable in my opinion.
I love that.
So,
And you're
mm,
so right as well. Like we're not charities. We are still here to make money. Because money does afford us freedom as well, I think,
yeah,
the freedom to, be able to, go to the doctor when you're sick, or go on that
totally.
holiday or whatever it might be. I think that we also need to, as women, talk about money more and the fact that it is okay to earn money and to profit off doing good in the world. I think
Oh,
a woman once said to me, profit and impact shouldn't be mutually exclusive. And it's
yes.
always made me think that, if more people made money off doing good in the world, we'd do more good in the world.
Yes, yeah, so true. And I love the social impact space. I love like social enterprise because if you're we can be commercially viable.
Mm,
We can operate businesses that meet consumer needs, that are profitable, but that also do good in the world. And
mm,
more money is in private sector than governments around the world. So small shifts in impact in the private sector make monstrous differences, yeah, absolutely. It's just one of my favorite things. Like business as a force for good is what I believe changes the world, because you have obsessed people like us.
yeah, totally. How
Bye.
cool. How cool is that? And it's like it can look totally different for every business as well. I mean, I feel like there's lots of people who are passionate perhaps about marketing, right? And you might go, well, marketing's
Mm,
not going to change the world. It's like actually, there's plenty of room in a marketing based business to, help people who are doing the social enterprise route or the NFP route, or percentage of profits go back to, a cause that you're passionate about. So I feel like when you have obsessed business owners, we do have this amazing opportunity in front of us.
big time.
So
Yeah,
cool. I love it
absolutely.
so much. I love it so much. Okay. I always love to wrap this podcast on one last piece of advice. So, reflecting on your time in business, what would be a piece of wisdom, a piece of advice that you would offer up to
Mm,
another woman who is on this crazy business journey?
I think, I've probably got a couple.
Give it to me. I'm aware you can do as many as you like.
So don't wait to know everything. I
Mm,
think action is more valuable than being perfect. And trust yourself that if you are all in on this idea, you will find a way.
mm,
I think number two is relentlessly consume content because we live in a day and age where the absolute best of the best will be on a podcast sharing detailed information about how they got there. And that's so unique. And I think it is quite common to well, people are great at it, but not utilizing that. Mm, such a missed opportunity because there has been times when I've read a little business book or a 30-minute podcast that has changed my entire strategy or has helped me uncover one of those kind of mind frame blockages that's stopping me from like fixing 1%, that over time gets me all the way over here. So I think, what I've done is, and you can debate whether this is good or bad, but I was into politics and social issues and kind of relentlessly obsessed with the news and staying up to date. And I realized that ultimately that wasn't actually feeding me. So I kind of went on a zero kind of media diet, and everything I consume is about getting better at doing what I know is going to create impact in the world. So
mm.
that's number two, relentlessly
Love
obsessed
that.
over that. And then I think number three is, yeah, I guess get the right people around you. If you are a solo entrepreneur, find your your missing piece. Um, and yeah, really figure out what your values are, what where your business is going, and start to build that team as quickly as you can because ultimately we don't do this alone. We don't do it alone. So yeah, the right people is really key as well.
I love that so much. You are so spot on. I know, like personally in business, having those people that you can go to, but also that strategic team that is, I love you said it earlier, as the business grows and you get better and better and better, you get to do more of the things that you love. And the way that happens is through team, it is through, and team looks different for everyone as well, it might be, you may not have to have 10 full-time employees, but it could be
No,
a couple of freelancers, a virtual assistant, or one, whatever. But you're so right. You don't get to then just focus on the stuff that lights you up if you don't have that support network or that support team that is actually doing all the other stuff because fortunately, unfortunately, that all that stuff has to get done in a business. So yeah, I love
and
I love that connection.
leverage like your time. What is your time worth, right? And find someone else who can do those jobs. It's like the 4 hour work week kind of mentality, like
Yeah.
Tim Ferriss thing. It's like, yeah, we have to leverage that. Absolutely.
It's a really good one. I know was supposed to be wrapping this up, but but it just made me think of I don't know who I heard this from, but it was also life-changing. But it was like figure out the difference between $1,000 tasks and $10 tasks. So you as the business owner, you're the $1,000 task person, you're the person that
Yes.
can do those. If it's a $10 task and anyone can do it, you shouldn't be doing that. That should be something that you outsource or have an employee or whatever that looks like. So, yeah, I think that that's a good little thing to think about as well.
Top
When you,
tip. And you never have to stop doing that. I'm still looking at my things going, okay, someone else can do this. Someone else can do this. Someone else can.
yes.
Yeah. 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 Good
Oh,
tip.
I love it so much. Amelia, you are amazing. Thank you
Oh.
so much for sharing your time with the Spark community. So many good little nuggets of wisdom in there. So I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for shining a light on women in business. I love what you're doing. Thanks for having me.